Every morning, there is a moment you don't see, but it decides everything. It happens before the world speaks, before your phone lights up, before your responsibilities crash against your mind. It's the moment when you open your eyes and decide, consciously or not, who you are going to be for the next 24 hours. Most people don't realize this choice exists. They wake up and instantly hand their emotional state to notifications, to messages, to noise, to other people's expectations. They begin the day reacting instead of leading. And once you start in that position, it becomes almost impossible to regain control. But there is a different way to live. There is a way to begin the day with clarity instead of chaos, with direction instead of confusion, with strength instead of survival mode. And this difference begins in the first thoughts you allow into your mind. For thousands of years, wise men taught that the mind is most vulnerable when waking. Modern science confirms that your neural pathways are more malleable, more impressionable, more open to suggestion in those first minutes. If you fill those minutes with stress, distraction, or comparison, your brain builds a pattern of reactivity for the rest of the day. But if you fill them with intention, your mind reorganizes itself around purpose. This is why the ancient philosophers valued morning rituals so deeply. Not because they were mystical, but because they understood a simple truth. Your inner world sets the tone for your outer world. This video exists to show you 10 essential declarations, 10 mental anchors that reshape how you face challenges, people, pressure, uncertainty, and your own weaknesses. These aren't fantasies or motivational slogans. They are principles forged over centuries, confirmed in modern psychology, and validated by the lives of people who endured far more than the average person faces today. If you internalize these ideas, not as empty sentences but as daily commitments, the entire tone of your life begins to shift. Not instantly, not magically, but consistently. And consistency is what transforms a scattered mind into an unshakable one. The first truth is simple, but brutally liberating. I am responsible for how I feel today. This single sentence separates those who lead their lives from those who are dragged by them. Most people let their emotions be shaped by traffic, by other people's moods, by disappointing news, by unexpected problems. They believe their frustration is caused by circumstances, when in reality, it's caused by their interpretation of those circumstances. The moment you accept responsibility for your emotional state, you stop being a victim of the day and start becoming its architect. You no longer wait for good events to feel good. You no longer depend on other people's behavior to stay centered. You no longer surrender your peace to randomness. This doesn't mean you suppress emotions or deny reality. It means you anchor yourself in the understanding that while life is unpredictable, your response doesn't have to be. You can feel the sting of disappointment without letting it poison the entire day. You can experience frustration without turning it into identity. Responsibility is freedom disguised as discipline. Once you claim it, nothing owns you anymore. The second truth builds directly upon the first. Nothing enters my mind without my permission. Your mind is a territory, and every morning you choose whether it will be guarded or left unprotected. Most people begin their day like a fortress with its gates wide open. Any irritation, complaint, rumor, criticism, or problem can walk right in and make itself at home. A single message can ruin their mood. A single comment can weaken their confidence. A single worry can hijack their entire focus. But peace is not fragile. Peace is simply unprotected when you don't establish boundaries. When you adopt this declaration, you begin to treat your inner world with respect. You become selective about what you allow to influence you. You notice your triggers instead of surrendering to them. You pause before absorbing negativity. You create a distance between stimulus and reaction. And in that space, however small it may be, you reclaim control. Nothing disturbing, nothing diminishing, nothing chaotic should enter your mind unless you consciously allow it. This isn't emotional coldness. It's emotional discipline. It's the understanding that you don't need to let other people's storms soak you. You don't need to internalize what doesn't belong to you. You don't need to carry what someone else dropped at your feet. When you live with this awareness, your presence becomes calmer, stronger, steadier. People notice it. They don't always understand it, but they feel it. And you begin to move through the world with a kind of quiet power, the kind that comes from guarding your mental space instead of giving it away. These first two truths form the foundation for everything that comes next. If you can claim responsibility for your emotions and guard your mind from unnecessary disturbance, you begin the day already ahead of most people. You start grounded instead of scattered. You start aware instead of reactive. And when the world tries to pull you in 1,000 different directions, you remain centered. Before we continue, take a moment to support this journey. Hit the like button so this message reaches more people who need it. Subscribe to stay connected to new content, and comment one word that describes your biggest morning struggle. Your engagement helps build a community of people committed to inner strength and mental clarity. Now, once you understand that your emotions belong to you and that your mind requires protection, the next step is learning where to place your energy. Nothing drains a person faster than trying to control the uncontrollable. This is why the third truth is essential. Today, I direct my effort only toward what I can influence. Most people wake up carrying the weight of things they cannot change. They worry about someone else's decisions. They fear outcomes they cannot shape. They replay conversations they can't rewrite. This mental burden exhausts them before the day even begins. But when you shift your focus to what is actually within your reach, your attitude, your choices, your level of effort, your behavior, you stop fighting invisible battles and start winning the real ones. Imagine how much lighter your day becomes when you stop trying to manage the emotions of others. Imagine how much clearer your mind feels when you no longer chase approval from people whose opinions have nothing to do with your purpose. Imagine the energy you regain when you stop predicting every scenario and start acting on the only one that matters: the present moment. Directing your effort toward what you can influence isn't passivity. It's strategy. It means you refuse to waste your strength on imaginary problems while ignoring the actions that could genuinely improve your life. It means you choose focus over anxiety. It means you take responsibility for the part that belongs to you and release the part that doesn't. When you embrace this truth, life stops feeling like an endless storm, because you finally stop trying to control the weather and start steering your own ship. This principle leads naturally into the fourth truth. My value is not defined by today's results. In a world obsessed with performance, comparison, and achievement, it's dangerously easy to tie your worth to what you produce. If the day goes well, you feel proud. If the day collapses, you feel inadequate. But this emotional roller coaster destroys confidence, stability, and long-term growth. Your value cannot fluctuate with circumstances. You are not a product of your successes, and you are not a summary of your failures. You are a human being with inherent worth independent of any outcome. Think about how many people wake up every morning already afraid. Not afraid of hard work, but afraid of disappointing themselves. Afraid of failing a goal. Afraid of looking unprepared. Afraid of not being enough. This fear poisons the day before the day even starts. But when you separate your identity from your performance, something remarkable happens. You regain freedom. Freedom to learn, freedom to try, freedom to attempt things that might not work, freedom to grow without self-condemnation. You stop demanding perfection from yourself and start demanding consistency, courage, and honesty. This doesn't mean you lower your standards. It means you stop confusing the value of your life with the outcome of your tasks. A good day does not make you a superior person, and a difficult day does not make you a failure. Results are indicators, not definitions. They reveal what needs improvement, not who you are. When you understand this, you stop hiding from challenges. You stop avoiding risk. You stop sabotaging yourself with impossible expectations. Instead, you begin treating life like a process. Something to engage with, learn from, and refine, not something that judges you. Let this truth settle deeply. Your worth existed before any of today's victories or losses, and it will continue to exist long after they fade. You don't need perfect outcomes to justify your existence. You don't need flawless performance to respect yourself. You only need the willingness to show up, to try honestly, and to grow intentionally. This is the mindset that builds resilience. This is what allows people to remain steady in the face of criticism, grounded in the face of failure, and humble in the face of success. You are not your productivity. You are not your mistakes. You are not your achievements. You are the person who decides what each experience will make of you. Together, these two truths create a mental environment where discipline thrives. When you focus only on what you can influence, You eliminate the noise that distracts most people. When you stop measuring your worth by outcomes, you remove the pressure that crushes most people. And once noise and pressure lose their power, your mind becomes sharper, calmer, and more capable of meaningful action. Once you stop tying your worth to outcomes and begin focusing only on what you can influence, your relationship with action changes. Most people move through the day collecting intentions like souvenirs, things they meant to do, wanted to do, hoped someday they would do. But intentions without action slowly erode confidence. You begin to doubt your own word. You start believing you're the kind of person who plans more than you executes. And that quiet disappointment builds inside you until even small tasks feel heavy. That is why the fifth truth is essential. I choose action over hesitation. Every meaningful transformation in life begins with this shift. Action is not about speed or aggression. It is about direction. It is about choosing to move instead of freezing. It is about refusing to let fear, uncertainty, or perfectionism talk you out of the next step. Most people believe they need clarity before acting, but clarity grows from action. You learn by moving. You understand by trying. You gain strength by doing what you once avoided. When you choose action over hesitation, you retrain your mind to trust your own ability to start, to adapt, and to progress, even imperfectly. Imagine how different your life becomes when "I'll do it later" no longer feels familiar. Imagine how powerful you feel when you become someone who follows through instead of postponing. Imagine the confidence that grows when you prove to yourself, again and again, that you are capable of doing hard things without waiting for motivation. Action builds momentum. Momentum builds identity. Identity builds a life that feels aligned with who you want to be. Hesitation keeps you stuck in the same place. But action, even in small doses, breaks the cycle of stagnation and introduces possibility where there was none before. The truth is simple. Motion creates meaning. You don't need to leap. You only need to begin. The rest unfolds as you move. And each time you choose action, you weaken the grip of fear and strengthen the belief that you are capable of shaping your own reality. This truth doesn't demand perfection. It demands participation. Your life cannot change unless you do. This leads naturally into the sixth truth. Every difficulty I face is building something in me. Most people treat challenges as interruptions, unexpected obstacles that ruin the day and drain their energy. But challenges are woven into the fabric of growth. They are not punishments. They are invitations. When you view problems through the lens of growth, your entire emotional landscape shifts. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this forming in me?" That question alone transforms adversity into training. Every pressure you feel today is shaping your patience, your endurance, your creativity, your adaptability. Every misunderstanding strengthens your communication. Every setback strengthens your resilience. Every disappointment strengthens your honesty with yourself. Nothing you struggle with is meaningless unless you walk through it without learning. Even the smallest difficulties, delays, misunderstandings, inconveniences, are opportunities to refine how you respond and who you become. People often imagine growth as something inspirational, something grand, something filled with excitement. But real growth is slow, subtle, uncomfortable. It happens in the moments when you resist the urge to complain. It happens when you stay calm instead of reacting impulsively. It happens when you choose discipline while your feelings ask for comfort. Growth is never glamorous while it's happening. You only notice its power later, when you look at challenges that once overwhelmed you and realize they no longer shake you. When you embrace the idea that every difficulty is building something in you, you stop fearing the storms of life. You stop resisting reality. You stop wasting energy wishing things were easier. Instead, you develop courage without bitterness, strength without hardness, and wisdom without cynicism. The problems you face today may be uncomfortable, but they are not without purpose. Each one contains a lesson, and each lesson adds a layer to the version of yourself you are becoming. Let this truth reshape the way you move through the world. Obstacles will not stop appearing. Life will not suddenly become smooth just because you hope it will. But when you shift from resistance to acceptance, and from acceptance to growth, you become someone who is not weakened by difficulty but strengthened by it. You become someone who can walk through chaos without losing your center. You become someone who trusts that every challenge, whether chosen or unwanted, is forming qualities you will need in the future. Together, these two truths, choosing action over hesitation and viewing difficulty as fuel, turn you into someone capable of progress even in imperfect conditions. They give you movement when you feel stuck and purpose when you feel discouraged. They build a mindset where challenges are not threats but stepping stones. And once this becomes natural for you, nothing in your environment can stop your growth. When you begin acting instead of hesitating and start viewing challenges as catalysts for growth, something subtle but powerful happens inside you. You stop seeing other people as benchmarks for your own life. Most of the frustration, insecurity, and self-doubt that consume people doesn't come from reality. It comes from comparison. That is why the seventh truth matters deeply. My path is mine alone, and I will not measure it against anyone else's. In a world where everyone displays curated fragments of their lives, it's easy to forget that what you see is not what is real. You see the highlight of one person and compare it to the struggle inside yourself. You see someone celebrating an achievement and forget how long they worked for it. You see progress in others and instantly believe you are behind. But comparison is a trap disguised as motivation. It makes you chase standards that were never meant to be yours. Your strengths are different. Your timing is different. Your struggles are different. Your desires are different. So your journey must be different too. When you stop comparing, you begin noticing your own progress instead of someone else's timeline. You stop rushing. You stop doubting your pace. You stop feeling shame for being in the middle of a process that everyone goes through but few show honestly. Your life is not a race, and you are not competing with anyone. The only meaningful comparison you can make is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. This shift frees you from unnecessary pressure. It gives you the space to grow at a pace that is sustainable and aligned with your own values. Comparison is rooted in scarcity, the belief that someone else's win reduces your chances of winning. But growth is not a limited resource. Strength is not finite. Success is not distributed by proportion. Someone else's progress doesn't diminish yours. If anything, it proves that progress is possible. And once you internalize this truth, jealousy fades, resentment dissolves, and insecurity weakens. You begin celebrating others sincerely, because their journey no longer threatens your own. You begin trusting your path because it finally feels like your own. This principle prepares the ground for the eighth truth. Discipline leads my actions, not emotion. Most people live as hostages to their moods. They do what they feel like doing and avoid what discomforts them. They wait for motivation, inspiration, energy, the perfect timing. But feelings are waves, beautiful to experience, impossible to control, constantly rising and falling. Discipline, however, is steady. It remains even when motivation disappears. It guides you when you feel tired, when you feel unmotivated, when you feel overwhelmed, and even when you feel discouraged. Discipline is not harshness. It is not self-punishment. It is a form of self-respect. It is the commitment to do what aligns with your values, even when your emotions ask for comfort or escape. When discipline leads your actions, your life no longer depends on fleeting states of mind. You wake up and do what needs to be done. You honor your commitments. You follow through. You stop abandoning yourself when things get difficult. You build a reputation with yourself that is stronger than mood swings and more stable than bursts of inspiration. The difference between discipline and emotion is the difference between progress and stagnation. Emotion says, I don't feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. Emotion says, this is uncomfortable. Discipline says, that means I need it. Emotion says, maybe later. Discipline says, now is the time. When you begin acting from discipline, your life becomes predictable, in the best way possible. You become reliable. You become consistent. You become someone you can trust, someone who doesn't abandon their goals at the first sign of discomfort. And the most powerful part, discipline creates its own motivation. When you do what needs to be done, you feel stronger. When you follow through, you feel capable. When you honor your commitments, you feel proud. Motivation is not something you wait for, it's something you earn. And you earn it through disciplined action. Together, these two truths, refusing comparison and choosing discipline over emotion, build a mental foundation that modern life rarely teaches. You learn to move without needing external validation, and you learn to act without needing emotional permission. You stop being pulled by every feeling or every image of someone else's success. You become grounded, steady, committed. Once these ideas settle into your routine, the world around you stops dictating your mindset. Other people's timelines stop influencing your pace. External noise stops shaping your self-worth. Your life begins to feel intentional instead of accidental. And that feeling, once you experience it, becomes something you never want to lose. When discipline becomes your foundation and comparison loses its grip on your mind, something new emerges. An ability to appreciate your life with a clarity that few people ever reach. Not the shallow gratitude people post online, but the kind that recalibrates your entire perception of the world. That is why the ninth truth completes the inner shift you've begun building. I choose to see the day through the lens of gratitude, not scarcity. Gratitude does not mean ignoring your struggles. It means refusing to overlook your strengths. It means noticing what remains instead of obsessing over what is missing. It means waking up and acknowledging that even on difficult days, there are things worth appreciating. Your breath, your opportunities, your growth, your capacity to try again. Most people spend their mornings scanning for problems, but problems have no trouble finding you on their own. The real discipline is scanning for what is good. Gratitude is not a passive feeling. It is an active decision to interpret life with perspective instead of panic. When you see the world through scarcity, every inconvenience feels like a crisis, every challenge feels unfair, every success of others feels threatening. But when you see the world through gratitude, your entire emotional landscape changes. You become less reactive, less defensive, less impatient. You become calmer, clearer, more anchored in the present moment. Gratitude makes you stronger because it removes the illusion that you are lacking. It reminds you that you already possess the tools needed to face the day. You stop waiting for the world to give you something before you allow yourself to feel whole. You begin to experience life as it is instead of resenting it for what it isn't. And this leads directly to the final truth, one that ties all the others together. Each day, I will end stronger than I began. Growth is not an event. It is not dramatic, nor explosive, nor instantly visible. Growth is a quiet accumulation of choices. Moments when you act instead of hesitating, moments when you learn from difficulty instead of resisting it, moments when you choose discipline over emotion, moments when you protect your mind instead of surrendering it. And when you commit to ending the day stronger than you began, no experience becomes wasted. Every interaction becomes data. Every mistake becomes feedback. Every challenge becomes training. Every success becomes a reminder that progress is possible. This principle frees you from the pressure of perfection. You don't need to transform your entire life in a single morning. You don't need massive breakthroughs every week. You only need to make the day count in some small but meaningful way. Reflect for a moment. Imagine what happens when you improve even slightly each day for a year. Not dramatically, just consistently. Even if progress feels invisible in the moment, it compounds quietly, shaping a version of you that is stronger, steadier, and more capable than the person who woke up that morning. That is the power of ending each day better than you started. It turns ordinary days into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons. It transforms the way you interpret your life because you stop moving aimlessly and start moving intentionally. When you live with this mindset, discipline no longer feels like punishment. Gratitude no longer feels like effort. Challenges no longer feel personal. Comparison no longer feels relevant. You start viewing your life as a continuous unfolding, not a series of random events. You begin recognizing patterns in yourself, understanding your tendencies, strengthening your weaknesses, and elevating your strengths. By choosing to end the day stronger than you began, you convert time, your most limited resource, into personal evolution. And once all 10 principles settle into your routine, responsibility, mental protection, focus on influence, separation of worth from outcomes, action, growth through difficulty, individuality of path, discipline, gratitude, and daily improvement. You stop living reactively and start living deliberately. Your mornings gain direction. Your days gain structure. Your mind gains resilience. Your sense of self gains stability. You become someone who shapes life from the inside out, not someone who collapses under the weight of external noise. Now, if this message spoke to you, take action in this moment. Like this video, because it helps the algorithm deliver these ideas to others who need them. Subscribe so you never miss future content that strengthens your mindset. And comment below which of these 10 principles hit you the hardest today. Your engagement doesn't just support the channel. It reinforces your own commitment to growth. Your future self will thank you for the decision you made right now.